Good afternoon, everybody. This is Councilman Britt Moore. We're at City Hall here in High Point for our February 17th meeting of the Finance Committee. I'll call that meeting to order. Alongside me here is Mayor Pro Tem Monica Peters and Councilman Michael Holmes. So we do have a quorum. I think Victor Jones was a tad bit under the weather. Felt like it might be best to stay away today, but we have a quorum, so we have a pretty good size agenda, and we're going to jump right into it. First item today is 2022-62. It's a contract it's a contract change order concerning our West Side treatment plant and some automation there, and Robbie Stone will be presenting.
All right, so is this, sorry, sir, is this a Riverdale lift station?
Robert,
Sorry.
do you mind?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thanks.
All right, is this a Riverdale lift station that you're referring to, sir?
This is on my sheet, it's the 2022-62, which is a West Side
Yes, sir.
waste treatment plant for
Okay.
Piedmont Automation.
Yes, sir. So this is change order number 1 to
Right.
approve for Piedmont Automation for additional work to be performed as part of the upgrade to the SCADA, which is a supervisory control and data acquisition system at the West Side Wastewater Treatment Plant. This contract for the SCADA upgrade at the West Side Wastewater Treatment Plant was awarded to Piedmont Automation in June of 2021 for $230,000. Some of the additional work items are the installation of a large monitor for the SCADA overview of the physical plant, displaying alarms and other important data at a glance. The monitor will be connected to the SCADA server by a small dedicated computer. Another item is adding an additional thin client computer to be placed in the residuals office at the East Side plant. This change order also consists of a project time extension of 91 days. That's for the procurement of these items here. Funds for this project are available in the current budget, and Public Services Department recommend the approval of change order number 1 to Piedmont Automation in the amount of $6,750 and a 91-day time increase.
Is there any comments or questions on this request?
Yeah, this is an additional 91 days?
Yes, and that was just due to the availability of the part of the items that we're ordering.
Okay.
When you look on the page from Sturgill Engineering, just the amounts of those cost increases, all that falls within that, right?
Yes, sir.
They're not, okay. I looked at that number wrong. Gotcha, okay. I'll make a motion that we approve item 2022-62.
Second?
There's a motion and a second. I'll call the vote, and I'll start with Councilwoman Peters. How you vote?
Aye.
Councilman Holmes?
Aye.
Councilman Moore is an aye. That motion passes. The next item Robbie will also present is 2022-63, and that's a contract change order for Dellinger Incorporated.
Okay, this is for our Riverdale lift station. It's a change order number 1 for Dellinger. The Riverdale Sewer Lift Station West Force Main contract was awarded to Dellinger back in March of 2021 for $1.7 million. This project consists of about 2,700 linear feet of 36-inch ductile iron sewer force main. The new force main will carry wastewater from Riverdale Pump Station to the 42-inch gravity sewer line. So change order number 1 is for the additional rock that was encountered during this project and additional paving required along the access road to the Riverdale Pump Station. This change order will also add about 6 days to the contract. Funds are available in the current budget for this change order. So Public Services recommends that the council approve change order number 1 to Dellinger Incorporated in the amount of $81,500 to increase its total contract to $1,824,593.
When you word additional rock that you ran into, is that, I know that happens from time to time, but just curious of the correlation. 81,000, will they be digging? Will they be blasting? Will they be doing both?
So they have already well, maybe a combination, but they've already went through this area. So prior to a project, we'll go out and take some test holes, and so try to come up with an estimate of how much rock's there. But as they went through this area, they encountered more rock, so this is the number that's come back to us
I got you.
for that additional rock that was encountered.
All right. Any other comments, questions?
Motion to approve?
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve this item. Mayor Pro Tem Peters, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilman Holmes?
Aye.
Councilman Moore is an aye. That motion passes. Next item is 2022-64. This is a contract asking about sludge thickening and dewatering polymer, and Robbie is still with us.
All right, so this is a product that the city's wastewater treatment facilities use. This polymer is used to thicken and dewater the solids as part of the wastewater treatment process. East Side Wastewater Treatment Plant and West Side Wastewater Treatment Plant use this for two different pieces of equipment there. The contract will be awarded for a one-year period with the option to renew for 2 additional one-year periods. Funds for this item are available in the current budget. Public Services is recommending awarding this contract to Polydyne Inc. At a price of $1.35 per neat pound. The annual award for this would be $352,080 based on the estimated usage. And just for a little background knowledge, as our chemical pricing has increased, the last time we bid this, it was 90 cents per neat pound. So, and that total amount was roughly $117,000 that we used. So chemical prices are jumping up on us.
Triple, yeah. Any comments or questions?
Yeah, what's the difference between a pound and a neat pound?
I just asked that question, and I don't have a good answer for you, but I'll get it. So.
Yeah, because
What was the question?
the difference between a pound and a neat pound.
Yeah.
So this process is essentially separating the liquid from the solid and not keeping the liquid, but not evaporation.
Right, it helps us to separate those so that we can continue the process.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd be interested when you find out the answer.
I'll find out.
Let me know.
Motion to approve.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Councilman Holmes, well, I did that backwards. Mayor Pro Tem Peters, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilman Holmes?
Aye.
And Councilman Moore's an aye. That motion passes. Next item, 2022-65, the contract, again for chemicals in our water and wastewater treatment facilities.
All right, so this is a liquid aluminum sulfate. This chemical product is used at the city's water and wastewater treatment facilities. Alum is used at the Ward Water Treatment Plant for coagulation. It's also used at East Side and West Side for phosphorus control. Bids for this product were received on February 3rd of 2022. Chemtrade Chemicals was the low bidder at $347 a ton. Funds are available in the current budget, so the Public Services Department recommends awarding this contract to Chemtrade Chemicals in the amount of $409,348.80. Chemtrade was also the low bidder, and the contract will be awarded for a one-year period with an option to renew for 2 additional one-year periods. Similar to the last report here, the previous bid on this, the cost was $264 per ton, and we spent a little over $98,000 with that product.
Comments or questions? I'll make a motion that item 2022-65 be approved.
Second.
There's a second. Mayor Pro Tem Peters, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilman Holmes?
Aye.
Councilman Moore is an aye. Next item is 2022-66, and Robbie is going to share with us about a contract on computerized maintenance system.
All right, so this is our CMMS, the Computerized Maintenance and Management System. We currently have this in place in this order of software to help centralize the maintenance and information of facilities and processes of maintenance operations. It helps to optimize the utilization and availability of the physical equipment like vehicles, machinery, communications, plant, infrastructure, and other assets. It is used at our water and our sewer plants, and Accruent is the current software that we use. This is for the one-year contract renewal for that product. Funding is available in the current budget, and Public Services is recommending that Accruent be approved as the sole source vendor for annual renewal of the CMMS software for $42,589.54.
Comments or questions? Then I'll make a motion to approve item 2022-66.
Chairman,
Yep, go right ahead.
I'm looking at different numbers. I see the 42,589 is on 22-67, and the 2266 is 98,000?
Yeah,
Ma-
remember, Robbie, there are two items.
Did I flip them? I'm sorry. All right, I'm sorry. So, all right, so we have two items on here for CMMS. I'm sorry, I grabbed the wrong one here. So this, the current one is to contract with HDR to provide a needs assessment procurement support for a computerized maintenance and management system. The CMMS provides data and tools for making sound business decisions about operation, maintenance, and replacement of the city's public infrastructure. The intent of the Public Services Department is to purchase a CMMS or work order software that will meet the need of all 16 divisions and interface with other software that the city currently utilizes. HDR will help develop a roadmap for the steps required for the Public Services Department to select and implement the most suitable CMMS, including documentation of functional requirements, criteria for the software package selection, and suggestions and implementation plan and estimated cost. Funds for this project are available in the current budget. Public Services recommends approval and asks for the council to award this professional engineering service to HDR in the amount of $98,000 to assist with this selection.
All right, so we have just heard two presentations, if I believe, and I want to thank Councilman Holmes for that catch. I need to vote on them separately, I'm assuming? Okay. So I'm going to make a motion to approve item 2022-66, which was the contract for HDR Incorporated.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and 2 seconds. So Mayor Pro Tem Peters, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilman Holmes?
Aye.
Councilman Moore is an aye. The second one was the sole source on the accruant for CMMS, and that's item 2022-67. I'll make a motion for that approval.
Second?
There's a second. Mayor Pro Tem Peters, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilman Holmes?
Aye.
And Councilman Moore. Thank you, Robbie.
Thank you.
I believe you were 6 for 6. I hope some of our rockers have that good a year. Next item on the agenda is 2022-68, and this is a sole source contract concerning passport dock and door systems for Truist Point Stadium, and Greg Ferguson will present.
Council members, this is a custom design 2-ply roll-up door that will serve as both the batter's eye and a way for the building occupants at the food hall at 275 North Elm to be able to view the stadium. We've been working with both the stadium and Elliott Sidewalk Communities to make sure that the material used does not let light penetrate, so that the batter's eye functions as designed so that the ball can be seen when it's thrown. So this will be installed in the month of March, hopefully, in a period where there's very little flexibility, but we want to get this in a timely manner. And so we're asking the council approve this in the amount of $166,490.82, and there is funding available in the current budget.
Comments or questions? Then I'll make a motion to approve item 2022-68.
Second.
There is a motion and a second. Mayor Pro Tem Peters, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilman Holmes?
Aye.
And Councilman Moore is an aye. And hopefully that will be another enhancement to the great momentum we have going downtown. Next item is 2022-69. It's a change order request from Mr. Lee Tillery, the head of Parks and Rec.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
Good to see everyone. Before you is change order number 4 with Salmon Corporation in reference to our City Lake Park renovation project. And the main part of this project is the inclusion. We had originally not included this part in the renovation project to start with, but the inclusion of a pedestrian bridge and greenway crossing over City Lake that'll connect to the property at our PEC to the actual park proper at City Lake Park. So if you guys will recall, we took this out of the project when we initially brought what were our cost estimates and our contract and our GMP with Salmon Corporation. You guys had originally approved an early package that allowed us to start construction, and then we did change order 1, which included the remainder of the project. Our thinking then and what we communicated with you guys was that we would then come back to you if we were able to find some additional funding sources for this particular part of the project, the pedestrian bridge and the Greenway connection. And fortunately, we're able to do that. Last month, we got notification from the Parks and Recreation Trust Fund, or PARTIF, that we received a grant for $500,000 to go towards this project. I will say that we have another grant pending with the Recreation Trails Program for another $100,000, but we have not heard on our status there as if we received that grant or not. But we definitely received the $500,000 from the Parks and Recreation Trust Fund, which was the maximum amount you could get with the grant. So we're very fortunate, and there were a lot of grants handed out this year, so we were in a good place at a good time to apply for that grant this year. So it worked out well for the city. So we do receive that funding. We are recognizing a little bit of cost savings in the project to this point. So we wanted to bring this item back before you for consideration to approve this change order. Total cost is $861,619.01. We do think that we have that. We know we have that covered with the PARTIF grant, and the money's coming in there. Some cost savings. We've only used some of our contingency money on the city side and used very little contingency money on the salmon side that's included in their contract. So our recommendation is that we include this part of the project and put this back into salmon's contract. The timeline for this is a little different, so I have to address this one. It won't really be part of the current timing of our current project. This will actually happen a little bit later in the year. The subcontractor cannot be on site till April. Look like it's a 5 to 6 month project. So this project will only start in April, probably finish somewhere in the September, October range. So happy to answer any questions you guys may have about the project.
I don't have any questions, just a comment that I'm glad you were able to receive the grant and at the full amount. And hopefully this will, again, enhance what you got going on over there. So with that said, I'll make a motion to approve item 2022-69.
Second.
There's a second. Mayor Pro Tem Peters, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilman Holmes?
Aye.
Councilman Moore is an aye. Thank you, Lee.
Thank you.
You didn't get as much time as Robbie. Next item is 2022-70. These are the start of a few ordinance amendments, I believe, and Stephen Howlerick, I'm going to go with it, okay?
Sounds good.
All right, we'll present.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good afternoon to you and members of the Finance Committee. This is a budget ordinance amendment asking you to accept and appropriate a Parks and Recreation Trust Fund, or PARTIF grant, totaling $500,000 for renovations to City Lake Park, including a pedestrian bridge and greenway connection that Mr. Tillery just spoke of. I will note that the grant includes a 100% match requirement. However, funding that has previously been approved and budgeted for the City Lake Park renovation will satisfy that match, and so no additional appropriation will be needed. And we would recommend approval of this item.
Comments or questions? Then I'll make a motion to approve item 2022-70.
Second.
There's a second. Mayor Pro Tem Peters, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilman Holmes?
Aye.
Councilman Moore is an aye. Next item is 2022-71, and this is a grant project ordinance with our ARP for 2021, and I'll let you finish the rest of your title.
Yes, sir. As you said, this is a grant project ordinance, and this ordinance will create a special revenue fund and appropriate $22,699,511 in our American Rescue Plan Act of 2021 funds. They're sometimes referred to as coronavirus state and local fiscal recovery funds. This is the full amount that were expected from the feds. We've received our first payment. That was back in the spring. Last week on Monday at a special meeting of the City Council, it was approved the use of revenue loss dollars to fund critical items that were deferred as part of the last year's budget. That totaled $5,862,085. So this amendment is setting up that $5.8 million, and also the rest will be to an unassigned kind of account that will then be, funds will be transferred as council approves the projects. If you look at the page on the grant, the ordinance part, you'll notice that it says police services. The reason we're doing that is based on guidance we received from the UNC School of Government, and I'll quote them saying, "A local government is fully allowed to supplant existing local government revenue sources for any of the eligible general government services." Basically supplanting when we use revenue loss dollars. This allows us to significantly reduce our administrative burden because we have to follow all the federal uniform guidelines. And so there's an amendment coming in a couple items that is actually setting up the projects for those critical items that were approved. A few other things of note for this ordinance. The finance officer will be directed to report the financial status of the project, so all of the American Rescue Plan funds, to the governing board on an annual basis. And this ordinance will expire on December 31st, 2026, or when all of our American Rescue Plan funds have been obligated and spent, whichever occurs sooner. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, so the unassigned funds, just basically what we're referring to is some type of holding fund
Yes.
until we administer further. And I think what you're referring to and very well explained or working to explain is the 158 or so pages of directions y'all have to follow in these funds coming down. So
Yes, sir.
I'll make an item, if there's no comments or questions, I'll make a motion to approve item 2022-71.
Second.
There's a second. Mayor Pro Tem Peters, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilman Holmes?
Aye.
Councilman Moore is an aye. That motion passes. Next item is 2022-72, and it is a ordinance budget amendment.
Yes, sir. So this one's a little bit more technical. So we're asking to appropriate the funds we received last spring, which was $11,349,755.50. When we first received them, we put them into a fund that is existing. It's a general government grant fund, which also includes all of our other general government grants. Talking with School of Government, other U.S. Treasury, they suggest having your American Rescue Plan funds in its own solely dedicated special revenue fund. The previous item created that fund. This is just appropriating them where they originally deposited, and then we're going to transfer them to where they're going. And so there's no budget impact. It's just kind of some moving them from here to there.
Make a motion to approve item 2022-72.
Second.
There's a second. Mayor Pro Tem Peters. How do you- Councilman Holmes?
Aye.
Councilman Moore is an aye. That motion passes. Next item is 2022-73. This is a budget ordinance as well.
Yes, sir. And this budget ordinance is appropriating $5,077,240 for vehicles and other rolling stock, general capital projects, and parking capital projects that were deferred during last year's budget process. This is a majority of that list of critical items that were deferred during the budget that council approved to be used with the revenue lost dollars from the American Rescue Plan. This is just setting up the projects in the capital fund and the vehicles in the fleet fund. You'll notice there's a slight discrepancy between the 5.8 million and this is 5 million. Those expenses will be in the general fund, and we don't need an amendment to appropriate those funds. By freeing up the police services dollars, we can move those funds administratively. And we would recommend approval. And just for reference, the full list of projects is listed kind of there on the memo.
Any comments or questions? Hearing none, I'll make a motion to approve item 2022-73.
Second.
There's a second. Mayor Pro Tem Peters, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilman Holmes?
Aye.
Councilman Moore is an aye. Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you.
Great job, Stephen.
Next item is 2022-74, and this is dealing with our procurement policy and procedures manual, and Bobby Fitzjohn will speak to us.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the Finance Committee. The attached resolution will modify our procurement policies and procedures manual just to clarify that the city manager, upon council approval of a contract, has the authority to sign the contract. Currently, we have the mayor signing any contract that is approved by council. And this is just more to relieve that administrative burden. The mayor still will be required to sign certain contracts when an elected official is required, like our audit contract and any interlocal agreements sometimes require that. So this just makes that simple administrative change. So the Financial Services Department recommends the approval of this modification to the Procurement Services Manual.
Thank you, Bobby. Questions? I'll make a motion to approve item 2022-74.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Mayor Pro Tem Peters, how you vote?
Aye.
Councilman Holmes?
Aye.
Councilman Moore is an aye. Thank you, Bobby. That motion passes. Next item is 2022-75. This has to do with the pay plan adjustments, and Eric Almedo is going to explain and tell us about it.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you know, recruitment and retention of employees lately has remained a challenge in this current economic environment. A couple of factors that are leading to that are competition from the private sector, competition from other public entities, accelerating retirement rates, and a shortage of qualified applicants. We have been relying on more expensive options such as contracting and overtime cost. Our historic vacancy rates have averaged about 5 to 6%. We are currently at a 12% vacancy rate, but in some departments we are much higher, such as public services at a 20% vacancy rate. Police, as you've been briefed already, is at a 12% vacancy rate. Parks and Rec at 15%. And this has really created some challenges to being able to continue our current levels of service. So staff is recommending a number of policy changes to address these issues. So the first one would be a $1,000 bonus for all current, full, and part-time positions. We are also recommending a 2.5% increase to pay ranges and an immediate 2.5% cost of living adjustment for all employees effective the first payroll in March. We are recommending to increase any current hired position to a $15 minimum wage, and then any subsequent positions that are filled would be at a $15 minimum wage. We are requesting to implement a recruitment bonus program that would provide a $1,000 bonus to any current employee that refers a successful candidate to a hard-to-fill position once certain milestones are met based on our administrative policy. And we are finally also asking to revise the current police vehicle policy to include the ability for officers to take their vehicles home regardless of where they reside in the 4 counties that High Point is in: Guilford, Randolph, Davidson, and Forsyth. The approximate cost of these measures would be $2.76 million in this current fiscal year and $3.225 million in 2023. If approved, we will bring a detailed budget amendment back to council at the March 7th meeting, which will include funding these items through current year vacancy savings, fund balance appropriations, and ARPA funding. Be happy to address any questions you may have.
Have any questions?
I have one question about the recruitment bonus, and I heard that you said something about measuring the milestones. Have you already kind of established those milestones?
Yes. What we were anticipating was if somebody is hired a 3-month, a 6-month, and a 1-year milestone, we would pay $250 after 3 months, $250 after 6 months, and then the remaining $500 after a year.
Okay.
The only modification to that I just want to acknowledge is that for public safety, maybe our police and fire, we would have those bonus paid when the person actually finished probation and they're actually on service, working independently. A lot of times there's a year before an officer is actually out of field training and ready to be on the streets independently. So those bonuses would be paid after that. So depending on the probation periods, it may change with some departments.
Great.
Well, I'll just state for the record, I know that at least in my adult life, these are unprecedented times. I appreciate all the effort that all of y'all are putting in. I know that those that are here and are working are are working overtime. But Councilman Holmes and I talk about it a lot when we do, how much challenging it is for his private sector company as well. So this is hitting us across the board everywhere, and have to do what we have to do to try to compete. So thank you for your work on this, and hopefully we'll find some normalcy sometime sooner rather than later.
And one more comment, if you don't
Sure,
mind.
no.
But also, I feel like what I hear out in the streets from citizens and stuff is that, you know, we really are so cohesive now. We've got a great staff, a great council that's really working together. And so hopefully people really want to work here. And the people that do work here, they're going to want to tell their friends, hey, working for City of High Point, it's amazing. You know, we're the eyes of the world right now. And so I hope we can fill those positions quickly and just keep moving forward. So thank you, staff, so much.
Oh, I also wanted to mention that we are planning a one-day hiring event through Public Services. It's a date, February 26th. And so that's one initiative that is new for us, but we're very hopeful that it yields some results.
All right, we'll keep moving forward. I'll make a motion to approve item 2022-75.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Mayor Pro Tem Peters, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilman Holmes?
Aye.
Councilman Moore is an aye. That motion passes. Thank you, Eric. The next item, maybe final item, is 2022-76. This is concerning some Series 2022A bonds. Bobby Fitzjohn will present.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the Finance Committee. This is just an information item today. It'll have to go to the full council for a vote on Monday. We'll present it again. This is one component that of the financing for the City Lake Park project that council approved last year. So when we brought it to you, we mentioned we have the $9.5 million from the November 2019 bond referendum. We will utilize the 2/3 capacity of the city for 2022, which is $5.3 million, and then we have an intrafund loan that will make up the remainder. And now we have this grant as well that's going to help with that project. So this will be the first step to issue those 2/3 bonds of approximately $5.3 million. On Monday, we will ask that a resolution of certain statements of fact and finding be issued, and then a bond order be approved, and then that we'll also call a public hearing for the following council meeting to discuss the bond order. So it's just the legal steps to issue that first, or to get us to where we can issue those bonds. Any questions about the issuance or any of that? I feel like we've done this a lot over the past couple of years.
We have it. We appreciate the presentation, and we will take that as duly noted and look forward to hearing from you on Monday.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fitzjohn. Is there anything else to come before Finance Committee today? Then I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any opposition? Then this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.